mass living enlightenment initiation conventions all across South India. In the year 2015, on the 18th of September, in the Kumbh Mela, Nasik, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism initiates thousands of disciples of devotees into mass living enlightenment. In the year 2016, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism initiates even more people into the mass living enlightenment at the Kumbh Mela festival in Ujjain, India. Here now we are going to be going over the various coronations which the Supreme Pontiff. Here we can see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism standing as a young boy, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was ordained as the 233rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kanchi Kailasa Sarvanya Peetham, the Tondai Mandala Adinam. Here in the next photograph, we can see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being coronated as the incumbent emperor of Suryavamshi Surangi Samrajya. After that, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the present 23rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Dharma Mukti Swarga Paramadinam. In the year 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the 293rd Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kailasonatha Shyamalapita Sarvanya Peetham. In the same year, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was also coronated as the present Mahamandaleshwar, which is the supreme spiritual head of Mahanirvani Akala, which is the largest apex monastic order in Hinduism. In the following years, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the 1008th Acharya Mahamandaleshwar, which is the head of all spiritual leaders of the Atal Akada, which is one of the ancient apex bodies of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also been elected as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1,000 Hindu leaders and pontiffs. The sovereign state of Sri Kailasa is a macrocosmic ancient Hindu enlightened civilizational nation, whose vision is living enlightenment for all of humanity. Kailasa's mission is to revive and share with today's world the practical applications of this greater science of authentic Hinduism, including Hindu cosmic physics, Hindu alchemy, Hindu cosmology, Hindu biology, Hindu mathematics, power manifestation, and other sciences as revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. These sciences were once freely practiced in over 56 nations across the continent, but are now facing extinction due to the persecution over a millennium. Here we can see the 1008 Sri Kailasa's Uniting Nations initiatives. Sri Kailasa's Uniting Nations gives 108 initiatives supporting a variety of humanitarian services which collectively allow for the creation of an enlightened, peaceful, sustainable, equitable, resilient, and thriving world. One of these projects is the No Hungry Home project offered by Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for nutritious food and a hunger-free world. 1 billion meals have been served over the past 27 years. Every month for the past 27 years, the Hindu ASMT community has served more than 3 million annadans, which are the free organic meals as per the tradition, in religious gatherings to everyone without discrimination. 10,000 meals are served daily free of cost, and up to 100,000 meals on festival days. Kailasa's protective and preventive COVID care centers, also offered by the Sri Kailasa's Uniting Nations for affordable and holistic health care. The pandemic, which has affected all of us in various different ways, even for this, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has converted the monastery into a multi-layer quarantine facility. Not just one monastery, but all of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's monasteries across the globe has been converted into a multi-layer quarantine facility, which are free for all people, regardless of any difference in age, gender, caste, creed, ethnicity, color, or social economic status. Food, shelter, internet, and all the basic facilities, including free medical care for an indefinite period amount of time. Nithyananda Hindu University and the Nithyananda Gurukul are some more projects offered by the Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for Education Reform and Development. The Nithyananda Hindu University, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, established the world's largest Hindu university. The Nithyananda Gurukul, and which was established on October 2nd, 2006, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has inaugurated the Nithyananda Gurukul, the revival of the ancient Adi Shaivite Guru-disciple education system, which is the authentic knowledge transmission system based on enlightenment. In the Nithyananda Hindu University alone, more than 20 million people have enrolled, and the university has 7,000 free courses and extended campuses in over 150 countries. The Nithyananda Hindu Jnanalaya project and Hinduismpedia offered by Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for the protection of Hindu scriptures. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has established the Nithyananda Hindu Jnanalaya to collect and preserve the 1 million Hindu scriptures while ensuring that knowledge is made accessible and shared free of all cost to everyone. Collecting and preserving 1 million source books of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has authored more than 10,000 books in 3 languages, and those books have been translated into 50 different languages. Published 10,000 articles, given 10,000 plus hours of free discourses with more than 1 billion views. Kailasa's Hinduismpedia is where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has collected more than 15 terabytes of digital books and rare manuscripts from all 19 Sarvanya Pitas, ancient mats, and ashrams. 1 million pages on Hinduism, collection of 22,000 digital books, more than 1,000 e-textbooks, and over 100,000 articles on various topics in Hinduism. For world peace offered by Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for global peace and religious harmony. In 2009, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism organized a month-long peace walk covering 1,000 kilometers and 1,000 villages to bring together in harmony from all walks of life to promote feeling connection and oneness among each other. During the walk, health camps were conducted in villages along the path of the peace walk. Here we have the women empowerment programs offered by Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for feminine empowerment and gender equality. Kailasa's Yogini Sarvanya Peetham is where the establishment of yoga and meditation universities to empower the quality of life and emphasis on life solutions through Vedas and Agamas, empowering the indigenous rural women, fighting against wrongful gender stereotyping, gender-based violence, and lack of inclusive and quality learning environments. Some of these are Nithyananda Lakshmi, which is a microfinancing service, Kailasa's Women Foundation and Women Empowerment Self-Help Centers, which have been launched in 2009. Kailasa's Ankita program, providing foundational literacy about working of basic communities and infrastructure establishments. Kailasa's Ashriya program, providing vocational training programs to rural and indigenous women to provide equal opportunities and access to independent, self-sufficient financial environments to themselves. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived the Vedic feminism in Kailasa, where 80% of leadership positions are occupied by women. Nithyananda Kriyas, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, revived 108 scientifically validated Kriyas, specifically targeting the 108 major diseases and disorders such as diabetes, arthritis, blood pressure, and so on. The revival of ancient traditional forms of yoga, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived the ancient pole yoga, the Shivastambha yoga, and rope yoga, Kundalini Rajya yoga, in which yogic asanas, postures, and weight balancing techniques are performed to create the yogic physiology, aligning it to cosmic geometry that manifests superconscious powers. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also been awarded 2 Guinness World Records for the largest rope yoga, Kundalini Rajya yoga, and the largest pole yoga, Shivastambha yoga classes, bringing worldwide attention to these extraordinary forms of yoga. Despite being heavily persecuted continuously for over a decade, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has, in his unwavered intention, commitment, and action in building the only Hindu nation, the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa, to protect, to revive, and to preserve Hinduism, the most ancient, most peaceful, still living, and long-lasting demonstrable system that shows the possibility of peaceful coexistence amongst people. Here, the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa, being recognized in the United Nations. Kailasa, the first nation of Hindus, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, spoke on behalf of the 2 billion global Hindu diaspora at the 14th session of the United Nations Forum on Minority Issues. This is a significant milestone in the history of Hindus and the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa, which happened on December 2nd, 2021. His Excellency Sri Nityamoksha Priyananda, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Kailasa, represented the persecution of Hindus at the 14th session of the United Nations Forum on Minority Issues. The theme of the forum was the conflict prevention and the protection of the human rights of minorities. This was the first time the plight of persecuted Hindu minorities were represented in the United Nations. The ongoing and systematic generational attacks on Hindu indigenous traditions were highlighted in this meeting. Here, the torture and murder attempts by the state and non-state actors, where over 70 assassination attempts were attempted on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in India and abroad. 40 attacks on community members, destruction of monasteries and temples. Over 60 incidents of attacks, molestation, and rape of women and the women monks. Intense lawfare through over 100 false legal cases, all but one are dismissed. Intersectional persecution using the entire government mechanism, politically owned media, police, and judiciary control by politicians, and inciting mob violence through the social media. Even though all of these various attacks and false cases and persecution which has happened on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, through his unwavering intention and his unwavering commitment to the Hindu diaspora worldwide, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has built the Sri Kailasa nation and is continuing to serve humanity on an extraordinary scale. In the next segment, we're going to be looking over the power manifestation, the extraordinary manifestation of the Shaktis of Paramashiva, with a live demonstration as well. So please stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break.
A more intelligently connected world leads to a brighter future. An enlightened humanity leads to a better world. During the Paramashivam program, we help people to discover their superhuman possibilities and help them to find and achieve the true purpose of their birth by giving them the techniques, practices, and methodologies from the Vedagamas, the original source scriptures of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving the ancient original Vedas and Agamas in all its glory, in a user-friendly way for the modern mind. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is transforming human beings into divine beings, reviving, initiating, and replicating the 463 powers from the Agamas revealed by Paramashiva. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is not just giving solutions for every problem man faces, but is making them irrelevant to their lives by transforming human beings into divine beings.
Listen. Any argument presented by your mind, body, your present reality to establish you are not Paramashiva. You are not omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. Anything presented to prove you are not Paramashiva is illegitimate. Decide this. This is super determinism. Understand? Anything you declare as illegitimate will lose power over you, will die in few days, few minutes, maybe in few weeks, whatever few days it takes. It will not have power over you. Understand, this is the method for sudden enlightenment. This is the method for sudden enlightenment. It happens by the Shaktipada. Here Paramashiva is sitting to tell you all, you are Paramashiva, you are me, with Shaktipada and Shaktinipada.
The Dvitiya Vijnasa Krama is an extensive and thorough yoga sequence to prepare your body to receive the experience being given by the Supreme Founder of Hinduism. Through the yoga, which is aligned as per the source scriptures laid down by Paramashiva and the Agamas, you break all the impossibility in your body and in turn break the very cognition of impossibility. The program leads you to go beyond your human frame and limiting human ideas, which prevents you from living your highest possibility.
I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment.
Again I tell you, I am not here to prove I am God, I am here to prove you are God.
Don't wait to become divine. Register now at paramashivoham.org.
You will become Paramashiva.
Maharaj, wait. Okay, fine, no problem. Okay, you have to keep going. Third eye will finish. After third eye, some other powers, Shastra Pramana will come. We have to go directly to consciousness over matter.
Welcome everyone. Welcome you back to the
Okay.
next segment of today's program, which is the manifesting extraordinary
Maharaj, I'm telling
Shaktis
you.
of
You say
Paramashiva
yes, I
revealed in
understood.
the
No, I didn't
Vedas and
understand.
Agamas by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Yes. So now we're going to be looking into this extraordinary science revealed by Paramashiva and being revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Vedas and Agamas, which are the source scriptures of Hinduism, reveals in elaborate detail that every human being is hardwired to be able to manifest 463 extraordinary Shaktis, which are the divine powers. Manifesting powers, manifesting Shaktis, are described as a system, a method, and a science for human beings to explore the various possibilities and powers and have access to various states of consciousness. Shaktis manifest from the fundamental cognition that you are divine. You need to manifest divine, and not you are man, need to reach divine.